And let's now move on to maybe the economic exchange. We can mention trade. And what is the volume of trade exchanges between France and Ghana?
Well, the volume of trade is increasing every year, something like between 8 and 10%. Today speaking, we do have a volume of trade of 1.3 billion euros. It means not far from 2 billion US dollars. It is very important. We do have very different sectors of investments here in Ghana with 60 French companies. The French investments in the country is around 500 million euros, so it's very, very important. And it means that Ghana and France have the same track, you know, and the idea that the trade is a major element of the bilateral relation, and France is very confident indeed for the future. We do know that the capacities of the country are very open. You do have an elite which is very well trained in the universities, so that to be the management in the French companies. So in that sense, Ghana is in a very good track.
Meaning the Ghanaian investment climate is worthy investing as far as France is concerned?
Well, you know, first, I do think that it's a question of image. And what I want to do is to promote more Ghanaian investments in France. And the image of Ghana has to be promoted in my country. It is very important indeed. The climate of business is very good in Ghana. When the French Businessmen Association came last year to pay a visit with 35 French businessmen, they were very in mind that the country has many capacities and opportunities, and that we have to disfruit making joint ventures, having a capacity to work with the Ghanaians, and in all means. I mean, it is for housing, for credits, for equipments and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so if you just join us, this is Diplomatic Call. I'll take another breather. When we come back, we'll get a little personal with His Excellency, the France Ambassador here in Ghana. So this is the final lap of Diplomatic Call, and let's now get more personal with His Excellency. Now, Monsieur Ambassador, how long have you been in Ghana?
Well, I've been in Ghana for 2 years now. But I had the opportunity to visit your country in '91, so 20 years in the past. Yes, and it was a great pleasure for me and a honor when I've been appointed here to come back.
So it was no news to you coming down to Ghana or Africa?
Well, you know, I do like very much your country. I had the opportunity to visit many countries in the African continent, but I do appreciate very much your country, Ghana, for its tradition, which are very strong, for your capacity of your country to choose very good modern tracks, and you know, I saw the differences in 20 years when I came back.
Have you tasted any of our foods already?
Well, yes. You know, when I'm invited by my Ghanaian friends, I do have the opportunity to taste Ghanaian foods, well, you know.
You like them?
Well, I do like very much indeed. I'm absolutely not a cooker, so I'm not able to cook. But well, I do like yes, fufu, for example.
Wow.
What is well prepared, I do appreciate. Plantain, it's absolutely delicious. All is good for health. All your fishes, which are absolutely perfect. So yes.
And you're here with your family?
Yes, I'm here with my family. I have one wife and three kids.
Two of to meet them.
Yeah, well, next time, yes, with pleasure. And they do live in this country, in Ghana. And as I said to you, now I do consider Ghana as my second home, and I'm always defending the colors of Ghana.
Now, to tell us a little bit about France, what are some of the captivating moments one can enjoy when I decide to probably visit France, or what are some of the sites I would see or you would recommend for me to visit when I visit France?
Well, France, of course, is a very modern country, but I do see many things in common with Ghana, because the French families are very attached to their roots and to the familial roots, such as you do in Ghana. And at the same time, the country is very modern. So I do think that Ghana and France have very much in common in their, not history, of course, which is different, but the way to see the world, the way to see the mankind, being modern, but at the same time to remain having your roots, your traditions. And in that sense, Ghana is a leader in Africa, and France is a leader in Europe.
I see. Have you always wanted to be a diplomat? Probably when growing up in your education, what was your career goal, to be a diplomat?
Yes, in that sense, it was a vocation. When I was very young, something like 14, I wanted to be a diplomat. At that time, first, I was very convinced that only peace can resolve and peace and dialogue can create the conditions for mankind to be able to progress. And point two, I was very attracted by the different cultures in the world, And what has maybe given me the certitude that was the job I wanted to do was when I was young at that time, but in 1977, when President Sadat paid a visit in Israel. The two countries were enemies, and they had wars, the one against the other. And they decided, President Sadat of Egypt and Prime Minister Menachem Begin decided to make peace. And this visit in November 1977 decided not my vocations, but I've given more capacity for me to say to him, yes, it is my job.
You speak English so fluently.
Well, because I do like this language, I do like English very much, even if I'm not even if I'm, of course, very French. But I do like this language because, English is in literature, in theater, one of the best languages.
I see. You learned English in France?
Yes, I learned in school my English, but I had the opportunities to go many times in England for private or business reasons. And, French people and British people it's a very strange relation because it is at the same time very attractive mutual relation and at the same time competition between the two countries.
Now, what would you miss about Ghana the most if you should end your duty tour and go back to France?
Well, I would say first the Ghanaians themselves, because I do like and I do love the Ghanaian people because this is a country with history, and when I am meeting Ghanaians, I do see in their eye the history, but they are strong people, a strong country with a strong history, and it will be my first remembrance. And two is Black Stars, because I do like to see Black Stars playing football,
Right now, finally, let me ask you, if I'm a Ghanaian business owner and I would want to showcase my business in France, how do I go about it?
Well, what I would propose to you is to connect you with the French firms, French companies, which are in the same sector as yours. The French Chamber of Commerce, which is rather new in the country, is very dedicated to this job to make connections between Ghanaian businessmen and French businessmen. So first, I would say to you, well, what do you want to sell? Or what do you want to buy? And you would give me some details, and after I will give you some connections on behalf of the French embassy with French businessmen and say, well, now it's up to you together to play and to decide what can be an agreement between you two.
What are some of the major tourist attractions in France that when I visit France, you would probably recommend for me to go see, have a feel of it?
Well, of course, I will propose you first Paris, which remains one of the most attractive cities in the world. And I would personally accompany you to make you visiting the city. After, I would quote Côte d'Azur, which is in the south east of France, with Nice, Marseille, with very nice landscapes, and you do have the sea. You can choose after Bordeaux, southwest of France, which is dedicated for wines, very good red wines. After the east of France, with Bourgogne, Champagne, which are...
I would love to be there.
Yes, well, you're absolutely welcome.
But have you visited any Ghanaian tourist attraction yet?
Oh yes, I had on the 10 regions of Ghana, I visited maybe 5 or 6. I have to go to Upper East and Upper West. I've never been No, I have to, and I have in mind this year to dedicate myself for paying visits to these two regions. You know, I'm absolutely fascinated by the differences between the different regions in the country. In that sense, it is a very rich culture with many differences and many attractivity in the traditions these different cultures have.
Now, what do you do to relax when you're not busy with your diplomatic business?
Well, you know, I do like first reading books, and lecture is very important. I'm painting sometimes myself, and well, I'm making sports with tennis and golf with my Ghanaian friends. You know, it's a good moment to relax.
Thank you very much for inviting us into your home and for this interview.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. And before leaving together, I would like to offer you a bottle of champagne. Champagne, you know, French champagne, which is the best of the world.
Thank you very much, Monsieur Ambassadeur. I appreciate it.
It's good to taste.
And I would love to visit France to see the origins of this particular champagne.
You are welcome, every moment.
Thank you very much for making time for us. We'll be back same time next week. I'll have to take a break to enjoy my champagne presented to me by His Excellency Monsieur Ambassadeur of France here in Ghana. And remember to log on to www.diplomaticallgh.com for the very latest and current of all Ghanaian diplomatic news. Good night.